The film starts on a flight flying from Chongqing, China to Lhasa in Tibet. Chief Lu and his co-pilot Kai hope to make a smooth arriving in about 60 minutes. They are extra cautious on the grounds that the airplane is flying at a higher height, which causes occasional choppiness. Everything is moving along as planned until unexpectedly, the pilots hear a break and see that the windshield has been somewhat harmed. Lu stays cool and contacts aviation authority, advising them regarding the crisis. Previously, the administrator can affirm what he heard: the brake gets greater. In under a second, the whole windshield breaks, setting behind closed doors strain in the cockpit. Co-pilot Kai is jump-started through the window also. Lu jumps out of his seat to get him. The scene suddenly slices to a couple of hours sooner. Lu is in the shower pausing his breathing for however long he can. He does this consistently also, can go for over 5 minutes without relaxing. Today is Lu's girl's birthday, thus he vows to get back for the party by the day's end. After he embarks for work, we see the lodge team heading to the air terminal. Everybody shows up feeling great and starts pre-flight arrangements. Lu is flying close by a genuinely new pilot, Kai. We are likewise acquainted with the third pilot, Wang. They all look at their vitals, previously meeting the remainder of the team and examining the weather pattern and span of the flight. Outside, the travelers stand by while the air terminal staff does a somewhat late mechanical check. The airline stewards review the crisis lights, breathing devices, number of feasts, also, such prior to answering to the head attendant, Bai Nan. In around 15 minutes, everything is ready and the travelers are allowed into the art. One of the airline stewards is harassed by an impolite traveler when she requests that he turn his telephone off. He is a web VIP who thinks he is qualified for do anything on the grounds that he is above different travelers ready. Bai Nan helps the unfortunate airline steward, also manages the traveler expertly. Finally, the plane takes off without a hitch, making everybody accept it will be a nice flight, yet much to their dismay what is going to come straight away. In the main portion of the flight, the plane encounters weighty choppiness. The air traffic control had previously anticipated this considering the adjustment of climate. Thus, Lu just calls them and requests consent to fly at a higher height where the mists won't annoy them. The travelers, then again, are quieted by the airline stewards who go about their business effectively. In some time, the choppiness finishes and everybody is eased. As Lu converses with Kai about his own life, we figure out that he used to be in the armed force prior to joining the business carriers. Their discussion ends when they hear a clamor and see the windshield has broken somewhat. They realize it's anything but a decent sign, yet stay cool and contact the aviation authority right away. The administrator is going to propose they go lower, yet before they impart, the windshield breaks totally, sending off Kai outside. Lu rapidly keeps him down and attempts to keep him inside the plane. In any case, the pilots battle contrary to the natural flow and strain building in the cockpit. All the while, the right motor explodes and quits working, unfit to take the heap of the plane. Presently, the existences of 119 travelers, also 9 team individuals, are in the possession of Lu. Since the ways to the cockpit are shut, the travelers and the lodge team outside try not to feel the impact of the strain change. They experience weighty choppiness, yet don't respect it since it has worked out previously. Everybody is approached to be situated with their safety belts on while Wang and Bai Nan attempt to snag the pilots inside the cockpit. At the point when they get no answer from inside, they at last register that this isn't simply normal choppiness. In the cockpit, Kai is just seconds away from being tossed external the window. Lu holds himself together and chooses to assume command of the plane prior to attempting to save his co-pilot. He hops back to his seat and attempts to contact the administrator once more. This is much more troublesome since they are flying over the mountain and the plane can collide with one of them whenever. Abruptly, the plane makes a forceful right turn, tossing every one of the travelers to their side. This is when frenzy starts to set in and they begin tying themselves firmly. The airline stewards help the kids and more seasoned individuals ready, gambling their own lives for the security of the travelers. As Lu makes an honest effort to control the plane, the choppiness just deteriorates. Then, he makes a cruel transform in order to draw Kai back into the plane. The arrangement works, yet it likewise causes the entryway to the cockpit to open. The pneumatic force inside the whole plane changes as it jerks in reverse strongly. An airline steward is tossed to the roof while she is attempting to help a traveler. Also, every other person on board is likewise jolted forward. The breathing devices drop and the remaining ladies assist the travelers with wearing them. At the point when the plane settles a little, Wang moves forward attempting to get inside the cockpit to help the others. Indeed, even the impolite traveler from prior attempts to push him forward when it comes to his life. Both Lu and Kai are going to pass out when Wang at last enters the cockpit. Indeed, in such a condition, Lu gives his all to keep the plane in charge, pausing his breathing as much as he can. Wang makes the chiefs wear breathing devices which helps them a piece and they can punch in numbers to get the plane to a lower height. Elsewhere in the air traffic light office, mayhem results when they see the plane diving at a startling rate. The correspondence with the pilots is likewise removed, which is a reasonable hint that something has turned out badly. They illuminate different workplaces to account for the flight's crisis arrival. A few flights are dropped all over East Asia on the grounds that of a chain response. Also, firefighters, paramedics, and numerous other crisis laborers are shipped off neighboring air terminals to plan for an arrival. The control room likewise sends 3 warrior jets looking for the plane while the pilots flying them attempt to contact Lu through their separate radios. Individuals on the ground do everything they can to see as the plane and guarantee the security of the travelers and team, yet eventually, it boils down to the pilots to save everybody's lives. The way to the cockpit is currently locked, settling the circumstance ready. The travelers are in a furore, yet they stay situated as requested by the airline stewards. Bai Nan approaches to affirm the places of her group, requesting that they press the calling button on the roof when the names are called. Everybody answers their name one after one more aside from the last airline steward who had been banged to the roof before. The others attempt to awaken her over and over and are going to surrender when she abruptly raises her hand. It is as yet alive to avow that she. Her group moans with help and watches her draw herself together into a seat. They are glad for her for holding herself up, yet the circumstance requires them to zero in regarding this situation within reach right now. Bai Nan then reports that they have lost lodge strain and demands everybody to remain situated with their safety belts and breathing devices on. In the interim, Wang eliminates his veil to shout into the receiver against the air hitting him through the wrecked windshield. His endeavors don't go to squander as individuals on the ground catch wind of the decompressed cockpit. The administrator uncovers that the plane necessitates to dive under 3,000 levels to acquire enough oxygen, yet the mountains beneath them have a typical level of 4,500 meters. This implies they need to cross the whole level without crashing into any mountains to get by. With as it were one motor working and a decompressed cockpit, accomplishing such a goal is beyond difficult. In the following hour, the report about the plane comes to the web. Loved ones of individuals on board begin terrifying, attempting to find as much data as possible. The plane ought to have arrived at this point, so individuals coming to get their relatives begin accusing the air terminal workers for keeping them out of the loop. Meanwhile, inconvenience adds up when a thick cloud arrangement hinders the plane from proceeding. Hovering over the mists is impossible, yet flying straightforwardly into the tempest would be welcoming afterlife. This is the point at which the travelers flip out and begin revolting. An alcoholic man gets up from his seat, shouting at a crying kid to stop. At the point when the airline stewards request that he quiet down, he shoves her to the side, requesting to know what is going on. He likewise slams a food streetcar into another airline steward, harming her seriously. Bai Nan comes to the scene, asking him to trust their chief, the main individual who can save them. Different travelers join her, causing the alcoholic man to return to his seat. In the meantime, in the cockpit, Wang attempts to keep the pilots warm while they fly the plane around and around, attempting to stay away from the tempest. On the ground, Lu's spouse is planning for her girl's birthday party. She is stunned after seeing the report about the plane, yet she is positive that her better half will bring the plane back. She likewise guarantees her girl that Lu will be back before she knows it, and they will praise her birthday together. Simultaneously, Lu's brain goes dim. What's more, he envisions his girl cutting a birthday cake. The creative mind gets more clear as he gradually passes out, representing an incredible danger to the whole plane. Wang comes behind the chief and shakes him to wake him up appropriately. Assuming the circumstance proceeds, everybody on board will fall oblivious. The plane will keep continuing on autopilot and at last accident when it runs out of fuel. Subsequent to making a few circles, Lu at last sees what he was pausing for. A small pathway has cleared between the mists that he can fly the plane through. Individuals from the control room acclaim his fast reasoning and watch as the plane flies into the foreboding shadows. The choppiness deteriorates and gear begins tumbling from the compartments above. The control room watches the flight anxiously until it abruptly goes off the radar. Everything goes quiet as they accept that it crashed. Yet their requests work and we see the travelers are as yet alive somewhere close to the mists. The chief pulls a switch, moving the plane forward energetically. A few minutes of quiet later, gab go on in the control room when the plane is back on the radar. Yet, despite the fact that it escaped the tempest, it is totally shifted and not even close to settled. The security of 119 travelers rehashes in Lu's mind, over and over, forestalling him from passing out any moment. Finally, the plane passes the mists and the choppiness closes. Subsequent to seeing demise very close, the travelers begin admitting their haziest mysteries to each other. The spouse lets his better half know that he misled her about his work, yet she pardons him quickly. Numerous others make last recordings for their friends and family, wanting to express farewell to them. In the accompanying scene, the plane at last arrives at the height when there is sufficient oxygen and the pilots remove their veils for a superior view. The association with the control room is restored and they are advised where to land. Each and every trip around the air terminal is ended and landed right away. Inside the airplane, travelers and the team get prepared for a crisis arrival, while outside, the columnists prepare to catch the drop. Seconds before they land, the travelers are filled with a will to live. They all serenade empowering words, also prepare themselves for the effect. The plane at last lands, yet continues to move towards the finish of the runway. The fact that it will crash yet makes everyone pushed without a moment to spare. Each of the three pilots pull the switch, all in all making it stop. At the point when the tension finishes, the administrators hop in festival, yet the travelers are so overpowered that they break into tears. Lu converses with the speaker and apologizes to everybody for the burden. Thus, the travelers all in all offer him a go-ahead, saying thanks to him for saving their lives. After everybody gets off the plane, an official from the administration agency comes in to explore the glitch. It would seem the cockpit had not been compressed as expected since the airplane was old. After seeing the condition it is in, the official considers Lu an amazing pilot and says thanks to him for his work. Lu calls his family, telling them he will be home soon. He is hindered due to a clamor outside, which ends up to be the travelers yelling to say thanks to him. Chief Lu and a couple of other lodge team individuals bow to the travelers to communicate their appreciation. The film closes as the travelers from Sichuan carriers meet their loved ones, grateful for the wonder that simply happened to them. At last, we are shown photos of the real lodge team who experienced such an episode in May of 2018. Photos of the genuine Sichuan carriers Flight 8633 after the episode are likewise shown.